We're off to our 40-week appointment. Come on out, baby. We're at April 9th now. We went for a checkup this morning and she basically said that there's been no progress and I'm getting much bigger and this is my first baby, so we'd like to get things going. So we decided that tomorrow night at 8 o'clock we're going to go back in and they're going to start the induction process, which is very exciting, but also I don't know how I'm going to sleep tonight. I woke up to the nicest little surprise this morning. I got a new pair of shoes and this really sweet note. Today's April 10th and we're on our way to the hospital tonight at 8 o'clock, which is so exciting. And I just feel so grateful. And what's the update? Now it's the 11th and we're going to the hospital. We were supposed to go last night at 8 and that got pushed to this morning at 8 and then it got pushed to today at 11. And since then, what have I done?
Well,
laughed so hard I puked and rolled my ankle. Oh, good times.
off to a roaring start.
Yeah.
But we're ready.
Yeah, we got a sprinkle donut. Administered the Cervidil. I feel like I started to have cramps at time was that? Probably like, it was like after my nap. I went away when I laid down and then it came back this morning. We went for a little walk. Now we're going to the hospital for 12 o'clock. And we'll see what they say.
Our third attempt.
And we were going to sleep over here last night. I'm glad we didn't.
Hopefully next update baby's here.
That would be nice. Let's do it again. Will this be the last time?
Yes.
Mommy, why did he not open his eyes?
Because he's sleeping. What do you think babies dream of?
Oh,
You don't know? You think they dream of milk
Probably.
and cuddling their mummies?
It's been now 7 weeks since I pulled out the camera. I think the last video clip that I have was on the way to the hospital. And things progressed pretty quickly from there and I just didn't even pull the camera out. We were living in the moment and I'm actually really glad we did that. But anyways, I have a 7-week-old baby now. Just been trying to soak in every moment because he's growing very quickly and changing pretty fast. Pretty hard to believe. It's been 7 weeks. We are into our 8th week now, so he's almost out of the newborn phase. And that is very sad to me, so we won't go there. But I wanted to get back into it, document his growth from here on out. Maybe I'll get into the birth story. I'd kind of like to document that just to have to look back on. I made notes in my phone, so maybe I can go over that. I better go check on him. So here we have the baby reveal. He was getting a little bit fussy, so I decided we'd try this and see how it goes. So we had a little boy. He was born April 13th at 2:02 a.m. It was like the best experience ever. I just can't believe I did that. I'm glad I got to experience that. And I would love to experience it again one day, but that will be down the line, hopefully. For now, we're just enjoying its presence and probably seen from the footage that I shared previously. My plan was to document our time, oh bless you, our time in the hospital. But that all changed when the pain started, and that wasn't really our focus. So I went in on, okay, how did that work? So he's born Sunday. You know what? How about I pull up my notes? Wednesday, April 9th was actually my 41-week appointment. We went in there and we went to set a date for the induction because there was zero progress. We were supposed to be induced on Thursday, April 10th, and that was canceled because they had a lot going on at the hospital that day. So I totally understand, even though it only took like 2 seconds to start that induction process. But anyways, Friday, April 11th, we were supposed to have an 8 a.m. induction. That was also moved because they had an emergency at the hospital. So then it was moved to Friday, April 11th at 11 a.m. So we went in at 11 and we were there for probably about an hour. They were doing some monitoring and testing. Then they actually did the Cervidil. So it was basically like a tampon type thing that they inserted, and that was just left in there for the entire night. I thought that I started feeling cramping that night before going to bed, and then that eventually faded and I woke up and I was fine. We went for a walk in the morning and tried to get things moving, but again, there was no progress. But then we went back to the hospital at noon on that Saturday. It was basically like 12:15 that she went to check me. This might be TMI, but as she was like pulling her hand out, my water broke. And once that moment happened, everything progressed pretty quickly. So that was about 12:15. I basically had contractions right away. So before that, they were saying that I was having mild contractions according to the monitor, but I really wasn't feeling anything. But yeah, the contractions, I could start to feel them slowly. But they were definitely manageable. And then by 5 o'clock, telling me that I should probably eat something because it could be a while. So I got Cody to go out and he got some food, but he brought it back, and I think I had like maybe 3 French fries in between contractions, but I was not feeling it. I was just uncomfortable and not in the mood. And then from like 7 till 9, I was in and out of the tub, and that was amazing. I'm so glad that that was an option, and I would definitely do that again because it was helpful. It was very peaceful. I had on some relaxing music, and also at that point they were giving me so it was making it more manageable for a few hours anyways. At 9:30 I asked for the epidural. I remember saying to the nurse, is it too soon to get an epidural? And she basically said it's up to me and my pain tolerance, and I was thinking, yeah, let's do that. But I'm so glad I asked at that point, because it wasn't until 11:30 that I got the epidural. After I got the epidural, I remember them asking like how my contractions were, and I was like, am I even having contractions? Like the only way that I could tell is because I was looking at the monitor and the monitor was saying that I was having contractions. And apparently I said this is a breeze. So an epidural made a huge difference. Hi. Because his heart rate kept dropping. They couldn't find it on the monitors, and then once they would find it, it would keep dropping every time I had a contraction. The only way that they could keep his heart rate was basically if I was on all fours, and I would have to push that way for potentially a few hours because it was my first, and he was also very big. But then they went to put in the catheter and they tried inserting it and pulling it out like 3 times, and it just was not doing what it's supposed to do. Yeah, there was like the 2 doctors in there at that point and like 3 nurses, and they were all kind of trying and giving suggestions as to what to do, and nothing was working. And then looking back, they think it's because of his head positioning. Like they think it was putting pressure somehow on my bladder and the catheter wasn't able to go in properly. Yeah, I guess they were monitoring his heart rate for like 2 hours, and it just kept doing that dippy thing. They couldn't find it. It wasn't consistent. So then around 1:15, they kind of gave me the option to, I could try pushing, because I was ready at that point, but they seemed a little concerned because of what was happening, and that was concerning me. So because they gave me the option of the C-section, I just said let's go with it, because I figured they wouldn't give me that option if they didn't think that's how the outcome was gonna be. So I didn't even bother trying to push. I just said, I'll just do the C-section. I knew that if I would have tried to push, it probably wouldn't have been successful because of his heart rate, because he was so big, because he's my first. My intuition was just telling me to get the C-section. So it was around 1:15 that we made the decision to do that. And then by 1:45, I was in the OR. So it was pretty quick. And then by 2:02, he was born. Mister, are you sleepy? Sleepy guy. They basically all said it was a good decision to do the C-section because he was 9 pounds, 1 ounce, and he came out with the cord around his neck twice. So I have a feeling I would have started to push and it would have ended in this situation anyways, and it could have been a lot worse. So I do feel like in that situation, go with your gut, because essentially you know yourself. I think this is helping. I don't really have much more to say, but we were in the hospital for 3 days. I just had no desire to pull out my camera. I was obviously very looped up. I look back at pictures of myself and my eyes were so googly. They had me on different things, so it's all kind of a blur. I did take that film camera. I didn't use anything in my hospital bag. Nothing. I think I used my face wash on the last day before we left. I used my toothbrush when I could get up. I didn't even change into my pajamas. I wore the same clothes that I came in with because I only had them on for a few hours that morning. I was basically in the robe and the underwear that they give you. Once you're in there, you get comfortable real fast. I basically could have went in there without a suitcase. I did take that film camera. We still have not used all the pictures. I think we got a few in the hospital, but honestly, that's also a blur. But it was like the best experience that I've ever had. And I couldn't have asked for anything better. Back from the grocery store, and I've actually made a couple casseroles along with a huge mess. But the baby needs to eat.
Just where it was needed.
Have some cherries.
Clean me black as night.
Enjoy my ice coffee.
Cloistered in injustice, dead in the eye of time. Nobody is losing. Faces merchant change, but your face remains the same. Swallows will be here by dawn. When we're finally sober, they'll be gone. The trees will bloom and ice will melt. We'll always remember how it felt.
Helping? Are you helping mommy?